10 years ago, I was living alone on the second floor of a two-family house with my toddler. My brother's close friend at the time lived on the first floor and referred me to the landlord. We had private front entrances, but a shared back entrance with a staircase that ran from the basement to the second floor. I frequently left my back door unlocked because I had a habit of locking my keys in the house. The downstairs neighbor had a friend who was kind of down and out. He had a history of substance abuse but was supposedly clean at the time. He was a relatively nice guy and my neighbor had been letting him stay on his couch for a while. The neighbor had a 4-year-old daughter, and having someone constantly sleep on the couch without any plans of finding a permanent living situation was becoming disruptive to their everyday lives. One day, the neighbor tells him he needs to go. It was summertime, so the friend decided he was going to sleep on the couch on our covered porch. We told him that was not acceptable, and when we asked him to leave, he threw a fit and stormed off. It had become also abundantly clear that he was using again, and his behavior had become sort of erratic. He was also making a lot of unsolicited advances on me, which had become increasingly uncomfortable. Fast forward a month or two, and I noticed things going missing. Jewelry, small amounts of money left around the house, and even lighters. This house was old, with paper-thin walls. The back door in question was right next to the bathroom, along one side of the shower. It also made a very distinct noise when opened. One day, my car was at the mechanic, so it probably appeared that I wasn't home. I was showering and I heard the back door open. I froze and practically stopped breathing, but after a few minutes when nobody murdered me, I wrote it off again. The basement was really big and shared, and the landlord also stored stuff down there. It was packed with a bunch of boxes, so we never really went down there. The landlord comes by one day and goes down to the basement. When he's down there, he hears a strange noise, grabs a baseball bat, and finds this man in our basement. The man pushed the landlord down and ran out of the house and down the street. We call the police, who find him hiding in a trash can around the corner. Upon further investigation, we found the basement window had been ever so slightly propped open. In a back corner, behind some boxes, was a nest of blankets filled with our missing items, plus some drug paraphernalia. That's not even the creepiest part. He had also left his flip phone behind in the chaos, where we found numerous pictures of me sleeping. This man had been high on crack, living in our basement, and regularly entering my apartment both when I wasn't home and when I was sleeping, for months. While he seemed like a nice guy, he was regularly high on hard drugs. I still get chills knowing he could have done anything to me and my child, and I would have never seen it coming. This happened about 2 years ago when I was living in an old house with my family. It's placed next to an old church that is abandoned, so it was creepy when we first bought it. The washer and dryer were in the basement, so ultimately I couldn't avoid it like I wanted to. It was always creepy, even when you were down there with someone else. Weird things always happened when I was there, like food disappearing, doors being left open that had been closed before, and clothes going missing. Footsteps were always audible from the basement as well. Down in the basement, there was a garage door and a normal door right next to it. The washer and dryer were on the opposite side. The stairs were right next to the doors, and there was one giant hole in the wall that we never fixed at the time for some odd reason. Fast forward about 2 months, my mom was about to give birth to my little brother. I was lying on the couch watching TV while everyone was at the hospital, and I heard a faint noise, almost like a soft knock. I muted the TV and stayed still. The noise stopped, so I thought maybe it was the wind. When I unmuted my TV, I heard it again. It almost sounded like someone was timing whatever it was with the sound of the TV. I kept the TV on mute for a while, and then I heard someone trying to yank open the garage door violently. I was not sure what was going on at first, so naturally I ran to my bedroom because I didn't know what else to do. After I locked my bedroom door, someone opened the garage door into the house. Terrified at this point, I announced I had a weapon, which I didn't, and I was on the phone with the police. After that, I called my stepfather, then I called the police. When the police got to the house, they searched around, and in the house, but found nothing. My mom told me what had been found in the hole down there in the basement about a month after I had moved out. A pile of old clothes and cotton matted down as though someone had been sleeping on it. Clothes that had been missing empty food containers and used plastic utensils. We figured they were getting in through the garage door since it had been broken and did not lock. So to avoid it happening again, my stepfather boarded up the garage door. Although we never caught whoever was living in that hole, I'm thankful nothing bad had happened to any of us. When I was about 13, this family I was close with moved out of their house just down the block from my family. A strange guy moved into that home, and the condition of the home rapidly declined. The day he moved in, he had a large U-Haul truck, which was fine, but the thing never left. It always stayed parked in the driveway. It also had an extension cord running from the house out to the truck, which I thought was weird. Eventually, there were paint cans all over the yard, random junk on the side of the house, and just trash scattered everywhere. This was not welcome in the small community, but anybody who talked to the guy came away saying the dude was weird and we needed to be careful. I mowed lawns at the time and was hired to do our friend's lawn while they were on vacation. They lived next to the weird guy. Every day when I was sweating my ass off mowing, I could see this weirdo spying on me through his blinds from his basement. He wasn't very good at hiding it either. I would always look back at him and give him weird looks, hoping he'd knock it off. Of course, as I was a little bit weird just seeing him spying on me, but nothing ever came of it. I never told my parents. Fast forward 2 years, my family is watching the 5 p.m. news while eating dinner, and they start reporting on a developing case where a woman's frozen body was found inside a freezer inside of the truck I mentioned earlier. They showed the house, and we all went silent. I ran outside and looked down the street, and sure enough, every news agency in the state had a truck parked in the street, satellite dishes extended, and cops had everything taped off. It was reported that this guy had abducted a 23-year-old woman on a Los Angeles freeway, murdered, and then stored her dead body in a freezer, which eventually went into the truck and was driven here to Arizona, where he moved next door to his mother, who of course had no idea.